One of the big questions I get all the time with my clients is, Tyler, I feel like I should be further ahead. What am I missing? And the number one piece that I find isn't with the words that you say in growing your business or trying to attain better results in your relationships or whatever it might be, but it's actually your body language. Your body speaks louder than the tone or even the words that you use. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the different types of body language to use to be able to nail your goals in days instead of years. I'm Tyler Watson, founder of idoelitecoaching.com, and check this out and start applying it so that you can start changing your body to match the words to get the results as fast as possible. Let me tell you about the power of body language. If words are 7%, tones like 35% or 33% based on different studies that they've seen. And so the rest is body language. So that's what, 60, 64, 66% almost is body language. So let me paint a story with this to give an example. My wife and I, we got married about 10 years ago, and she runs youth events. Super phenomenal. That's how I met her, and she was teaching and coaching. She came down to Branson, Missouri, where I was living, and we started to do these youth events. So she was down there and brought youth together and was teaching them how to become leaders. So she studied and got her degree in what's called statesmanship, and she would teach people and teach youth how to be leaders and how to communicate and how to stand out and how to guide people through transformation. So I saw this and I was like fascinated. And we just finished up a really cool, process that we did with youth for a couple days. And then we're going to go visit my mom. So we're driving through. Anybody ever been to Arkansas in the Ozarks? It's windy and curvy, and there's you just go. And so we're passing through Branson, getting into Arkansas, and we're going through the woods and driving. And we're in this car. And at the time, this is when I'm making like 13 grand a year. So I don't have a whole lot of money. We have a very modest car. Like our rent's less than $600. It's like $400 a month. So we're like living on nothing. And we're driving down, and as I'm turning the vehicle, all of a sudden, there's no one around and everything, and the horn just goes off. It's like in my car. And I'm freaking out, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm looking at my wife. She's like, I don't know. And I'm like smacking the horn thing, and I don't have any car skills. So I'm just like, stop, hit it and it'll fix it. So it stops for a minute, and I'm like, okay, let's just get to my mom's. It's like 2 hours from where we're going. So we're driving, and we're going. And then we pull up to this little tiny town, a population sign of 33 people. And we pull up, and there's a stop sign. And I think the whole population is walking across the crosswalk or something. It's there's 5-10 people, almost half the town. They're walking across the crosswalk, and we're parked, we're stopped there. And all of a sudden, man, the horn just starts blaring, and everybody stops as they're looking at me, and fortunately we're in the South. Most people are pretty nice, so I don't get any, number ones or anything. And they're just what's up? And I lift my hands off the wheel. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong. I'm hitting the wheel, hitting it, trying to make it stop. And all this is happening, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, let's just get to my mom's, please. So after the whole town passes, then we drive in. You might be asking, what does this have to do with anything, Tyler? Well, often in our lives, you're driving down your road trying to get to your destination of success. And you think you're sending out the signal to attract what you want. You think you're portraying exactly what you want everywhere you go. But what you don't realize is your body language speaks louder than anything else. Just like that horn, it is going off, blaring, sending signals that you might not want. And it could be pushing away the very thing that you desire in your life. You could be saying all the right words, you could be thinking all the right thoughts, but if your body language is not programmed and controlled and taught, then you could be blaring messages that are pushing people away. pushing opportunities down and keeping you from what you want. Fortunately, over the past years, I've studied body language and became pretty decent at it. So this can be a curse as much as it's a blessing. Sometimes I just have to like pretend I'm not seeing anybody. Like, okay, just let everybody do their stuff because your body speaks so loud. It's so loud. And we pick up on it, don't we? You do. When you're around people, you can feel, you can sense who you can trust, who you don't trust, that something's off, something's good, something's bad, but you don't quite maybe know how to recognize it or how to program it. So I'm going to teach you some basics of some body language techniques that have completely changed how I operate and how I function in life. Okay? I'm going to show you some bad body language, and I'm not going to tell you what it means, but I just want you to jot down what's your interpretation of is it as you watch me. All right, let's see. Here we go. See if you can see me fully. Okay. All right, here we go. When I set goals, I nail them in days and weeks instead of months or years. I live with no regrets as every decision I make turns into pure gold. Okay, so that was one form of body language. I just want you to take note. Here's another one. When I set goals, I nail them in days and weeks instead of months or years. I live with no regrets as every decision I turns into pure gold. Here's another one. When I set goals, I nail them in days and weeks instead of months or years. I live with no regrets as every decision I make turns into pure gold. Here's another one. When I set goals, I nail them in days and weeks instead of months or years. I live with no regrets as every decision I make turns into pure gold. Here's another one. When I set goals, I nail them in days and weeks instead of months or years. I live with no regrets. Okay? So are you picking up on the different signals that I'm sending? Okay. Here's some more. When I set goals, I nail them in days and weeks instead of months or years. I live with no regrets as every decision I make turns into pure gold. Okay, so are you noticing differences here? Now check this one. When I set goals, I nail them in days and weeks instead of months or years. I live with no regrets as every decision I make turns into pure gold. Now here's another one. When I set goals, I nail them in days and weeks instead of months or years. I live with no regrets as every decision I make turns into pure gold. Same tone, same words. Are you sensing different messages each time? Right? Each of those have very different meanings. Very different meanings. Now, I'm going to just show you with strong body language. And I'm not even going to use words. Because if body language really is 60-something%, and I want to convince my body to change, then I shouldn't even need words. Here you go. Did you feel a difference? Did you see a difference? Good. Some of you are picking up on it. We want your goals to actually happen. So if you want it to truly happen, it has to be real for who? For you. And your doubt is speaking so loud that it's pushing away the very things that you are speaking. Your body speaks louder than your words. Your body speaks louder than your words. Was it me? No, it was each and every one of you. So we all chose to do that. No one forced you. No one made you. You chose, which is freaking awesome.